Good evening, visitors. Welcome to the Australian War Memorial's last post ceremony. My name is Troy Clayton, and joining us today from the Royal Australian Air Force is Flight Lieutenant Gregory Young. Today, we commemorate the 105th anniversary of the capture of Damascus, which Lieutenant General Sir Henry Chauvel believed was the high water mark of the Desert Mountain Corps endeavour. The Battle of Megiddo, which had begun on the 19th of September 1918, had ended within a week and had seen the destruction of two Ottoman armies in Palestine. The remnants of the Ottoman forces withdrew into Syria and pursued by the cavalrymen of the Desert Mounted Corps, led by Lieutenant General Sir Henry Chauvel. The Australian Mounted Division played an integral part in the advance through Palestine and into Syria. By the end of September, the Australian 3rd Light Horse Brigade was on the outskirts of Damascus. On the 1st of October, the 10th Light Horse Regiment became the first Allied unit to enter the city. With a lack of government, civil unrest broke out in Damascus. Order was quickly restored by Chauvel, who organised and led a parade as a show of force. The war continued, and on the 25th of October, British cavalrymen captured Aleppo. The Ottomans surrendered 6 days later, ending the war in the Middle East. From the 19th of September until the 25th of October, the 3 divisions of Chauvel's Desert Mounted Corps had covered up to 800 kilometres and fought numerous engagements. They had also captured over 78,000 prisoners and large amounts of material. The Australian Mounted Division suffered 21 men killed and 71 wounded. The story of one of these men, Trooper Douglas Kendall Watt, will be told shortly. We welcome the veterans who have served, those that are still serving, and the families that love and support them. The live stream of this ceremony is made possible by the Return and Services League of Australia and the RSL and Services Club Association. We welcome members who are watching the ceremony broadcast across Australia. During this evening's ceremony, wreaths will be laid at the base of the Pool of Reflection by students on behalf of Killarney State School from Queensland and visitors to the memorial. If you're able, please stand and join in singing the National Anthem. Thank you. If you're able, please be seated. The Australian War Memorial was the vision of Charles Bean, Australia's First World War official historian. Bean landed with the Australian troops on Gallipoli and stayed with them at the front through to the end of the war. The idea of this national memorial and museum came to him at Pozières, France, in the depths of the bloody fighting of 1916. Bean's idea was that this would be a place where families and friends could mourn their loved ones buried in faraway places. It would also be a place that could help all Australians understand what these men and women had endured and what they had done for us. Bean's vision, to which we remain true, is best expressed as inscribed in the entrance to the memorial's galleries. Here is their spirit, in the heart of the land they loved. And here we guard the record which they themselves made. Tonight, we'll read the story behind just one of those on the Roll of Honour, which lists the names of more than 103,000 men and women who have given their lives for us in war and on operations for more than a century. But first, we present a lament, Flowers of the Forest. Wreaths or floral tributes will now be laid at the base of the Pool of Reflection.
Today, we remember and pay tribute to Trooper Douglas Kendall Watt. Douglas Watt was born in 1893 in Hillgrove, New South Wales. Affectionately known as Doug, he was one of 5 children born to miner Edwin Oliver Watt and his wife, Sophie. Doug grew up in Western Australia and received his education at Boulder State School. He trained as an accountant before marrying Amy Kitching in 1915. A son, Stanley, was born to the couple in 1916 as the First World War entered its 3rd year. In February 1917, Doug Watt enlisted in the Australian Imperial Force. He was assigned the General Reinforcements for the Light Horse and commenced a short period of training in Australia. In May, he farewelled his wife and infant son and embarked for active service, sailing from Fremantle on the troop ship Barara. Trooper Watt disembarked in Egypt on the 20th of June and proceeded to a training camp in Ismaili, where he joined the other new recruits. He remained until August, when he fell ill and was sent to hospital to recover. He returned to camp in September and was posted to the 1st Battalion of the Imperial Camel Corps joining his comrades in Palestine to take part in operations against the Turkish army. Within weeks of his arrival, he took part in fighting between Gaza and Beersheba, where British forces were attempting to outflank and break the enemy's defensive line. After Gaza fell to the British in November 1917, Watt and his comrades began moving into northern Palestine in pursuit of fleeing enemy troops. During this period, the practicality of the Camel Corps declined as they moved out of the desert and into more green, fertile country where horses could be move much more quickly. In April 1918, as concerns about the longevity of the Cameliers continued, Trooper Watt was transferred to the headquarters position, owing to inflammatory problems with his hands. Between his posting and a short stint in hospital, Watt did not return to the lines until May 1918. By this time, the Camel Corps was in the process of being disbanded, and in June, Watt was transferred to the ranks of the Light Horse. He completed a short period of cavalry training before joining the 10th Australian Light Horse Regiment at the end of July. Watt and his comrades then began pursuing Turkish forces through the Jordan Valley, enduring soaring temperature and shelling from enemy lines. During this period, Allied forces sought to destroy the enemy's rear communications, targeting roads and railways to prevent troop movements. Their efforts gradually began to pay off, putting them within striking distance of Damascus. On the 1st of October 1918, Watt's regiment led the rest of the 3rd Brigade into the city in the early hours of the morning and was the first fully formed body of troops to enter Damascus. Locals cheered as British forces occupied the city, capturing prisoners as they moved through the streets. As they approached Aleppo Road, the enemy continued to put up determined resistance, and Watt and his comrades were drawn into heavy fighting as they forced Turkish and German forces further back. It was during this action that Trooper Watt was hit by enemy fire, suffering serious wounds to his groin and thigh. Along with the rest of the wounded, Watt was evacuated to hospital in Damascus, where he received treatment. Over the days that followed, his condition worsened, and he died of wounds on the 8th of October 1918. A few weeks later, the Armistice of Murdos was signed, putting an end to hostilities in the Middle East. Watt was laid to rest in the hospital grounds. Today, his remains lie in the Damascus War Cemetery beneath the words chosen by his family, "Till the day breaks and the shadows flee away." Trooper Douglas Watt was 25 years old. His name is listed on the Roll of Honour to my right among almost 62,000 Australians who died while serving in the First World War. A photograph of his headstone is displayed today by the Pool of Reflection. This is but one of the many stories of service and sacrifice told here at the Australian War Memorial. We now remember Trooper Douglas Kendall Watt, who gave his life for us, for our freedoms, and in the hope of a better world.
Please stand for the reading of the Ode and the sounding of the last post.
They shall grow not old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun, and in the morning, we will remember them.
We'll remember them.
lest we forget.
Lest we forget. We leave you this evening with the words of the memorial's founder, Charles Bean. Many a man lying out there at Pozières or in the low scrub of Gallipoli, with his poor, tired senses barely working through the fever of his brain, has thought in his last moments, well, it's over. But in Australia, they will be proud of this. Ladies and gentlemen, girls and boys, that concludes the last post ceremony. On behalf of the director, staff and volunteers, thank you for visiting the Australian War Memorial today and for your continued support during the memorial's development project. We wish you all a very pleasant evening. Thank you.